Our sign language interpreter is Gideon Bogo. Ktn Prime begins right now. 44 victims of the Patel Dam tragedy were today laid to rest at an emotional send-off ceremony attended by, among others, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto. This was after an interdenominational funeral service conducted in Solai area of the county of Nakuru. Alphas Lagat is working on that report for you. We shall be giving it to you a little later on here on the broadcast. Now, to that controversial computer and cyber crimes bill, you will have to be extra cautious about what you do on social media. Publishing false information will land you a 2-year jail term or a 5 million shilling fine, while something as simple as sharing your password can land you in trouble as well. Rita Tinina has highlights of the bill, which imposes the highest penalties on child pornography with a 25-year jail term or a 25 million shilling fine.
The digital era has brought with it a revolution in the passage of information, with various social media platforms being used to relay information to millions of people in seconds. But now you will have to think twice about what you post on social media or what you do with your computer after President Uhuru Kenyatta assented to the Computer and Cyber Crimes Bill 2017.
I think from today, it will be a crime to knowingly share your password, even in the office, with any other person in the office.
A person who intentionally publishes false, misleading or fictitious data or misinforms with intent that the data shall be considered or acted upon as authentic will be liable to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years or both. Critics have argued that the context of false information may be used to stifle press freedom.
Writing anything that is false, like fake news, will be a crime, effective from today. So the social media users, those who use WhatsApp and they want to defame others, those who use Facebook, use other platforms, Telegram and the rest, you must know that it is going to be a crime.
Publishing, producing or possessing child pornography through a computer will land you 25 years in prison or a fine not exceeding 25 million shillings or both. Several corruption scandals in the country, such as the 791 million shilling NYS scam, saw the hacking of the IFMIS system. Under the new law, unauthorized interception, which results in significant financial loss or threatens national security, comes with a fine not exceeding 10 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or both.
We have also come up with an aspect called the critical systems, critical infrastructure information system. Big systems, like in government, in banks, are going to be licensed as a critical systems because they have a higher impact on issues to do with cybercrime.
Computer forgery could have one slapped with a 10 million shilling fine or a 5-year prison term or both. Cyberbullying and cyber stalking, where one repeatedly communicates directly or indirectly with another person to cause a person apprehension or fear of violence, will cost you 20 million shillings or land you in jail for a term not exceeding 10 years or both. A 20 million shilling fine or a 10-year jail term could be slapped on a person who unlawfully gains, occasions loss, or obtains an economic benefit to oneself or for another person through cyber fraud. Cyber espionage has a 20-year prison term or a 10 million shilling fine or both.
Espionage is not only happening in politics, but also in the commercial environment, where organizations, because of competitive pressure, are able to steal data from one organization to another. So that is also a crime covered.
Rita Tinina, KTN News.
Former Chief Pathologist Moses Njue today appeared before Nyeri courts and was charged with running medical courses at the King's Medical College without proper licensing. According to testimonies by witnesses in court, the Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians and Technologists Board said that the college was not credited to offer the medical laboratory course. Now, Njue was among 4 others appearing before Principal Magistrate Philip Mutua, among them a student who is accused of assaulting a police officer. during the closure of the college early this year. Njue was on Tuesday released on a cash bail of 300,000 shillings after being accused of stealing a heart and kidneys from different corpses. The ruling on the case of King's Medical College will, however, be made on the 6th of July this year. Self-declared NRM General Miguna Miguna has postponed his trip back to Kenya, citing what he termed as failure by the government to issue him with a valid passport. Miguna, who had indicated that he would be landing at the JKIA Wednesday afternoon, however, instructed his lawyers to move to court with a view of seeking for fresh orders to pressure the Department of Immigration refusal to issue him with a valid Kenyan passport. And as our senior political affairs reporter Chris Tairo now tells us, Miguna has called on NRM supporters to engage in peaceful demonstrations in protest of the continued refusal by the government to obey court orders.
I'm not boarding. I'm not boarding. I don't have a passport. I'm not boarding. I'm not going. Where are my luggage? Where is my passport? I'm not going anywhere.
And so it came to pass that the self-declared NRM General Miguna Miguna will not be boarding a flight from Canada to Kenya, at least for now.
So I'm not going. I've refused to go.
This is despite the much-hyped arrival on Wednesday, which he publicized on his official Twitter handle early this month. In a statement to newsrooms from Toronto, Canada, Miguna noted that the refusal by the government to issue him with a valid Kenyan passport, as directed by the High Court, was the main reason for him to postpone his trip back to Kenya. Part of the statement reads, and I quote, "I was determined to arrive home on schedule. However, just before my departure, I reluctantly cancelled my flight to Nairobi and postponed my next arrival date." End quote. Miguna has also instructed his lawyers to move to court Thursday and seek fresh orders that will compel the Department of Immigration to facilitate him with a valid passport. Miguna also called on his supporters to stage peaceful protest against what he termed as an illegitimate regime which continues to violate human rights. In his statement, Miguna also noted that NASA is dead, and with ODM having essentially joined Jubilee, the NRM Kenya will be the new Kenyan opposition.
I am a Kenyan. I'm not traveling with a Canadian passport. This is what I'm traveling with. Very good. And that's all I need.
The last time that Miguna was at the JKIA before being deported, NASA leader Raila Odinga had tried to secure his entry into Kenya, but to no avail. Raila Odinga is currently in the UK, where he conducted lectures at Cambridge University and Oxford University before holding a meeting with UK Minister for Africa at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Chris Tairo, KTN News.
Turning to that fresh scandal at NYS, Somali National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi has asked President Uhuru Kenyatta to walk his talk of zero tolerance to corruption by bringing to book all the culprits, the 10 billion shillings suspected scandal at the National Youth Service. But just why has NYS become such a soft target for corruption cartels? Our political affairs reporter Moremi Mwangi now interrogates.
Only 5 months and 18 days into President Uhuru Kenyatta's last and arguably most important term in office, the audacious monster of graft is yet again marching through his flagship project, the National Youth Service, this time brandishing an alleged colossal loot of 9 billion shillings, making the 791 million shillings 2015 scandal like a joke. And now, a Mani National Congress leader, Musalia Mudavadi, wants President Kenyatta to prove his zero tolerance to corruption by identifying and sending home those responsible if no volunteer tenders a resignation within 24 hours. This only 2 days after the National Assembly Public Accounts Committee summoned Public Service Principal Secretary Lilian Bogo over the scandal. KTN News has learned NYS is in the coming financial year to receive some 18 billion shillings, listed in the 2018 budget policy statement as youth empowerment, with a projected increase to 19.3 billion by financial year 2020-2021. But just why has NYS become so vulnerable to graft cartels?
And pay them from the system. Now, the system is actually very robust, but people can actually go around the system and create those fictitious companies that they actually pay for what they did not even supply. Because in terms of supply, there's nobody who's actually receiving. The same people are actually receiving goods, claiming to have received goods from fictitious companies, and then they're paid.
But for a body whose tenders sell like hot cake, with an unfettered priority to prestigious government infrastructure projects, such as slum upgrade and a recent deal to construct 15,000 police housing units, with more deals expected to flow in with Kenyatta's key legacy projects, including expected construction of 500,000 affordable units. Reforms in the NYS procurement and payment approval system is inevitable.
What would happen in an ideal situation is, because since NYS are trained, county governments are supposed to engage people who have capacity to assist them to do some of these functions, like the challenges that the governor of Nairobi is having. A lot of this garbage in Nairobi will be collected through NYS. They would assist.
As the graft dragon re-emerges, the Jubilee administration yet again finds itself on a tight spot, even as pressure continues to mount on President Kenyatta to deliver on his re-election pledges. Muremi Mwangi, Ktn News in Nairobi.
You're watching Ktn Prime. Thank you for staying with us. Still ahead, we have a lot for you, including the latest on that alert by the government on Masinga Dam. We have information that the dam is now full and the water is spilling over. We have the details next.